Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is SharePoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is Corey Emmons. And apparently, Google Hangouts is like getting rid of Google Hangouts, and it's all going to YouTube, a different format. So we were scrambling for the past 10 minutes or so. The old link that I had created for the event in YouTube now is non-existent because I had to go, because anyway, Google Hangouts got rid of Google Hangouts. I had to go through and create a brand new one about 15 minutes ago. And so that's why we're on a different URL. So I'll try and get that all out to everybody. But let's see, as usual, we have a Slack channel, and we have everyone come say hello and chat. And it's the name of my company, iwmentor.slack.com, is the channel that we use, and we have a little channel in there called Power Hour, and that's where we have conversations and ask questions. And Corey's going to be the one doing the presentation today, and it's going to be all about Planner. So you guys join in the chat, come say hi, and as usual, feel free to ask your questions as we go and have a conversation. And Corey,
Yeah.
what is Planner?
That's a good question, because up until this week, I had no idea it even existed.
You're not supposed to say that out
loud. But I will say it's actually pretty cool. And with that, I guess I'll go into, I actually was all fancy and created a presentation. So I guess I'll just go into that. As soon as I remember how to share my screen, there it is. That one. Alrighty. And Laura, you did the present to everyone, so I guess we're set.
Yep.
All right, so Office 365 Planner. Woo! So before we really get started, I actually, for the first time ever, I actually made a little About Me slide. I figured Laura has one, so why can't I have one? So born and raised in North Jersey. I do consulting work, and I work for Laura, and generally do all sorts of SharePoint stuff. Been doing it for a while, and I'm on Twitter, and sometimes I actually post things even. And I had to find some sort of picture of me, so there you go. That's me kayaking. So, Microsoft Planner, what is it? If you want to get to the really, really simple, basis of it, it's really just a really clever version of a task list. But they did all sorts of stuff to it to make it really useful, integrated in other pieces of SharePoint and Office to make it kind of like this planning portal that lets you really just look over all sorts of tasks for different projects or different teams and stuff like that. So that's what Planner is. Let's go into some basic terminology. So there are three different pieces of Planner inside it. So there are cards, and those are those tasks that I was talking about. So if you think about SharePoint tasks, they have, descriptions and titles and due dates and start dates and, assigned to and all that jazz. But cards have some additional stuff. So in a card, you can have an attachment. You can assign them to categories, and you can even have conversations within a certain task. So if someone has a question about a task, they can just ask it. About a card, they can just ask it, and then it can start this whole conversation. Cards are then organized into what they're calling buckets, which are basically groups of cards organized by a single either project or a timeline or something like that. They can be They can be reordered. They can be prioritized. You can tag them with pretty colors. Lots of colors in Microsoft Planner. It's kind of cool. So that's the buckets. And then we have boards. So boards are so if you think of like, a marketing team, they would have a board. And then the marketing team would create different buckets for different projects. So they could have, a bucket for a new, what am I thinking of? Like a bucket for creating new letterhead, a bucket for creating, new marketing materials, different things like that. And the board essentially organizes all of that and gives everyone a high-level overview of what's going on within that board. So that's the terminology that I'll probably be using throughout the rest of this presentation. So keep note. That's how we're gonna call all this stuff. So, like I said, these cards. This is what a card looks like. If you're familiar with tasks, it looks kind of similar. It's organized a little better. It's kind of prettier. Now, one thing that I have noticed is I don't think you can customize them as far as what they look like, what they show. It's a very just boilerplate. This is what they are. But as you can see, you can add people to them. So, assign to essentially. You can change their buckets if you created a card, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, that's in the wrong project. You can, move it around, change the status, start and due date, obviously. You can add to-do lists, which I think is really useful. Descriptions, pretty self-explanatory. One thing that's kind of cool for the descriptions is you can actually show them on the card when they're being viewed in the high-level overview, which you'll see later. You can add attachments and links, and down at the bottom here is this conversations thing that I was talking about. So all in line on this card, you can have a conversation with its whole history, which is pretty cool. So these buckets. So as you can see, each bucket is presented vertically. So all of the cards within a bucket are shown in order of, I'm doing hand gestures, and you can see them really well, right? All of the tasks cards are shown in order by due date, and it's a very clean design. It allows drag and drop, which is very cool. Up at the top here, you can just add new cards really quick. You can rename the buckets right at the top. You can add new buckets. You can, and it's not on this picture, but that description show on card. If you check that box, the description will actually show inside the card here. When you have attachments on the card, it'll show a preview of the attachment right on the card, which is very cool. And then one thing that I really liked is that when you're looking at this, you can just mark these things complete just by hovering over them. A nice big green checkbox appears, so you don't even have to open it. You can just like, no, that's done. All right. This buckets, and then boards. So this is the overall look of all the boards on the right here. So as you can see in this instance, online marketing has a board, product launch has a board. Every department basically has their own board. And it gives you like a high-level overview with a nice little pie-ish chart of how these boards are doing. Yeah.
Would a board be like for a whole project, and then it has?
So keep clicking.
I'm trying to, in my head, I'm trying to picture what the structure is. I know that's exactly what you're trying to explain.
Right. So if you think of it from the top down, it goes board, bucket, card. So this picture is actually not of a board. This picture is just this is the planner hub. So these are all of the boards just showing here. So what I'm assuming is based on permissions, you will see the boards that you have permissions to see. So the online marketing team might only see the online marketing board showing here.
Then you have to-dos inside of a card? The to-do thing you were showing?
Yes. Yeah, the to-do list is actually inside of a card, inside of a task. So the buckets are these 3 columns here. These are the buckets. And so this view right here is actually a board. So like in this instance, this is the online marketing board that you're seeing in this picture with all of its buckets showing, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense now.
Yeah. But there's more. It's not just buckets and cards and boards, and it sounds like we're going to carpentry school. There are many other things. It doesn't just organize. There are some cool charts, as you can see in this screenshot. There are calendars and members and notebooks and conversations and files. So we've seen some of these things already. We saw the conversations. Those are within the cards. But we'll also see another spot where they're located. The files, those are those attachments in the cards. And let's take a look at each one, I guess. So, charts. Charts are awesome. I don't actually have a picture of a chart because this is the chart. And you'll see more of it in the demo. The chart is showing all of the tasks grouped by members with that little pie chart thingy on the left. But then in addition to that, the chart allows you to do all sorts of different analysis based on users, buckets, due dates. You can click around, and clicking on different things filters different things in the tasks in the chart. It's pretty cool. I'll show you more in the demo. Calendars. So within each board, they have a calendar. Now, what I thought this would be a calendar of all of the tasks that are like for a board. So like online marketing has all those tasks in those different buckets, all those cards in those different buckets. But when you go to the calendar, it's actually an event calendar for that board, which I think is kind of weird. I'm not really sure what to make of that. What do you mean an
event calendar? Like, so they're not tied to any of the tasks or to-dos or anything? They're just, you just manually create events?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it creates a calendar for each board. And you can get to the calendar from the planner, but it doesn't show tasks on the calendar. It only shows events, which is kind of weird. Maybe I missed something. Somebody can always, point out my my inaccuracies if I'm missing something. But the calendar shows events for the board. So online marketing has all these different meetings going on. I don't know why online marketing cares about server upgrades, but that's neither here nor there. Members. So as you add people to a board, it's essentially creating an Office 365 group for that board. So online marketing in this case has a public group that is all the people that are involved in that board on the planner. It's just a nice, easy way to see who's there, get their details.
Does it create the group when you start adding people? And like, where do you, I guess you could show that in the demo. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I think it creates the group when you create the board as you start
Oh,
adding people to the board.
interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then within each board, they get their own OneNote notebook. So I think it's interesting that each board gets a notebook and not each bucket gets a notebook. But the notebook is for the whole board. So online marketing has a notebook, and it's a public notebook for them to just add stuff and keep track of things and notes. And, I put birthdays in here and, that sort of thing. So each board gets its own OneNote notebook to keep track of stuff.
We have a question. KVA says, are the tasks open to all members of a board? Or can the task be secured to view only by individual user?
That is a good question that I don't know the answer to. We'll have to poke around. Yeah, it's not a SharePoint group. It's not an AD group. It is a SharePoint group. It's an Office 365 group. I don't know
Which
if
is not the same as a SharePoint group, unfortunately.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's an Office 365 group. Yay, Microsoft. Yeah. So I don't know what the advantages are of that, but it creates it automatically. So I'll show you very shortly different things that group has as well to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spads says it's an Office 365 group, which is a mashup of Azure AD, Exchange, and SharePoint assets. Yep.
Exactly.
And it has an email address. Yep.
Yep. Speaking of email, okay, good to know, Spats. Speaking of email, so that conversations thing we were talking about earlier about inside those cards, those conversations are actually all stored within that Office 365 group's conversations. Can you? No. So it's essentially a group email inbox. So they took Office 365 groups and kind of just, integrated that all in there. And then there's files. So all of those attachments that are added to those cards are dumped into a document library that just contains all of the files for that board. So it reminds me of the document set concept kind of thing. It just takes all those attachments and it shows them in the tasks, but they're not actually part of the tasks. They are actually stored in a document library. And now it's demo time. There it is. Don't mind my alerts. Office 365 demos. I'm going to delete you. So here we go. Very true, Laura. Very true. So this is Planner. As you can see, this is the hub I was talking about. So it shows all of the boards on the central hub, organized by, I don't even know how it, I don't know how it decides which what order to show these in.
Can you drag them around and rearrange the order that way? Just like, no, I guess not.
No. You can drag some stuff around in here, but not that. There is a My Tasks, which I won't have any because I haven't created any for myself yet, but we'll fix that in a second. So just for fun, let's go into the operations marketing plan. So this is the board. This is the board for online marketing. Shows all of the buckets in here, and these are all of the cards for each bucket. And as you can see, as you hover over them, you get that fun little checkbox. I can take this card and move it around if I want to. Whee! And you get an ellipsis next to each bucket, which lets you rename or delete it. You can add tasks using the little plus sign on the top.
And tasks are different than to-dos?
Yeah, so here, let me open up this YouTube strategies one. So this is a card, as we saw in that link. The to-dos are actually right here. So find stuff, do other stuff. Like I have as much imagination as Laura when I'm creating these things.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Finish stuff. Those are all within this card, and then you can check those off as you do them. That's
your task list every morning, right, Corey?
Yeah, exactly. Find stuff, do other stuff, and then finish stuff. That's my day, basically. When you're within a card, you can switch it around to different buckets and a drop down here. The progress, it doesn't give you as many progress statuses as a normal task would, so you don't have, you can't cancel a task, for instance. And then start date's a calendar, due date is also a calendar. Now these show on card checkboxes, you can show these. As you can see, as I'm checking and unchecking these things, it is adding them to the card over here in the under YouTube strategies. If I check this box, oh, that's interesting. So you can't show both. You can show the description or you can show the checklist, but you cannot show both the description and the checklist.
And you can see it updating live, like behind your box as you checked them and unchecked them. See?
Right.
That's cool.
Yep. So that's kind of cool.
And attachments are different than documents?
The attachments are the documents. So if you attach a file here, it will actually add to, it'll
like
actually
if you
add
upload
to that
the file there,
file.
it puts it in that document library or whatever that was?
Right. So let's browse OneDrive.
I was just making sure it wasn't like an embedded file as like an attachment to a list item.
Right. So let's add this web launch brief here. And as you can see, it shows a little pretty edit, remove, show on card.
And Stuart wants to know if these will show in Outlook also.
I don't know. See, all this stuff is so new, we're still learning it too. Put a link in here. In case anybody forgets what YouTube is, we can show that on the card. Oh, that's cool. It's probably... Oh, I did it backwards. Heh, I should read. So I don't know if it's an issue with my resolution, but it's not showing all of the text, which is odd. Save. So it'll show the link on the card if you want it to. Show on card. Let's show this one on the card instead. It's prettier. And here's this comments section. So new comment. Enter doesn't post. Post. Let's add a person to this just for fun. Allie.
It's like this board that you're on. That's a board that you're on, right? It's
I'm
like
on
a little
card.
You're on a card. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Never gonna get it's like a little miniature website. It's cute.
Yeah, kind of. And here's different labels you can set for these things. So let's set this label as frequently not done. I don't know. So we set that label, and you can rename it. That's not obvious, actually, but you can rename the task if you click on it. And there's actually no save, so because it live updates, you can just close it when you're done. But now you can see it has this little purple tag on it. So let's actually go check and see if that file shows up in the files section. It should. Web launch brief, that's what I uploaded.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So somehow it's still associated with that item, though?
Oh no, because this still says modified 7/5/2016. So that's interesting. I wonder if these aren't actually.
So maybe try uploading something that you don't already have in there and see what happens to it.
Yeah, let's try that. Opened in a new tab, so that's good. Can you pause screen sharing?
You can stop it completely, I think.
Oh. I just don't know where that upload of file is going to go.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
I'm going to. Yeah, you can't. That's dumb. I'm just going to unscreen share for a second and upload a file.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you can see my face. Hi, that's my face.
In case anyone was wondering who the mystery person talking was.
Let's find a.
I'm going to go test the whole seeing if it connects to Outlook thing. I doubt it, but we'll try. Let's see. Do the dishes. I'm assigning myself a task.
All right, so I uploaded a monthly budget file, as you can see, hopefully.
Okay.
We're not going to open it because it's my actual monthly budget.
Okay.
But had a good name, so.
Yeah.
So now we'll go back to here, and we will refresh this. Look at that. So it is here.
Okay. But how can you tell? I wonder if there's a way to tell which task it's associated with. Like in a SharePoint site, you'd have
Right.
relationship or something. That's interesting.
So it doesn't.
It's got library setting. Oh, look, do the little add a column thing, like the little plus.
Oh, yeah. So let's do.
Show hide columns. No, because you don't want to add one.
Oh, I don't want to add a column. No. Come on. Show hide columns. So let's see. Yeah. ID of the user who has set the protection tag.
No, that's in all libraries.
Yeah. I don't see anything for.
Yeah,
let's
unless
try
it's record. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
Record.
All right, just.
Yeah. No.
No, it's just whether it's a record or not.
So that's interesting.
I love the new way of working in views, by the way, guys. This is like the way he just quickly like added a column to his view, just
Yeah.
FYI. And if you don't save it, like it'll just go back to how it was. See how it's got a little asterisk? Anyway, we'll talk about. We'll do another power hour on that concept.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can see if there are any columns there that it just wasn't showing. But I don't copy source, maybe?
No, that's for like the send
That's
to
something
thing.
else.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It just drops it in there.
Yep. Let's see what title says. Being so creative here this hour. Call it view. Ah, there it is. No. Nope. Still. Those are just titles. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. So somehow it takes these files and associates them to the cards and drops them into this documents section. Now, what we can try, and I assume I know what'll happen, but if I remove that file from this card, will it remove it from here? Probably not. So I don't think it associates them to the cards because it doesn't actually.
Well, the card knows which one it is, but the document library doesn't know where it came from.
Right, because I think it's just doing a copy to. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's not. They're not recursive or anything. It just, if there's a new file added to a card, it just dumps it in the document library. So that's interesting. So there's that. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and add a new bucket just so we can see what this looks like. So let's call this launch events to do, messaging and branding.
And a bucket's the biggest, a bucket's the highest.
The board is the highest. So online marketing is the board.
Okay.
So a bucket is a group of tasks.
I'm never going to get this right.
So let's call this bucket, we need new marketing materials. All right, so add a card here. See, and that's interesting. So it says type a task name instead of type a card name. So they're confusing their nomenclature.
The fact that you can have a task and to-dos inside of the task also confuses me.
Yeah, I wonder, it must just be doing a repeating table or something.
Yeah, and that's just, I mean, I'm not, maybe people that are more familiar with like Microsoft projects and different like project management in general, a lot of these concepts are going to go along with the concepts they're used to from other products. So I think that's what it's kind of carrying over. It's just, I'm not used to the nomenclature. I'm just used to having a task list and having tasks in it and they're assigned to people. But yeah, this is just it's a deeper, more complex structure, which is good.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure you can't connect them to Outlook though. I was just in there playing with one and I didn't see anything obvious, so. Spad says
You're
Microsoft
so right.
providing confusing words to describe products and features. Say it isn't so.
It said due date. What's nice is that about creating the tasks is it's a very simple task creation interface.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it keeps it open, just keep, piling on the tasks, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Jay Walcott says it's similar to Team Foundation Server, user stories, tasks.
Okay. So now I can go into these cards if I want to and add more stuff. I'm looking at this conversation thing. It looks like this comments thing. It's looking like,
oh, it's like a news feed.
Yeah, almost like a version history too. You know what I mean? Like created and
just like the newsfeed does, like we don't use the newsfeed anymore. SharePoint sites, it's kind of gone away, but it seems like it's the same concept. So it logs everything people type in there, but it also logs just activities that you're doing.
Yeah. So that's creating cards and buckets.
What's the difference between a to-do and a checklist, though? Is that the same thing? Because I saw a checklist inside of there.
That is the to-do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the to-do, okay, got it.
Yeah. I think you've been calling it to-do.
Oh, well, it says to do in there though. Like I have one that I created. Oh, you know what? To do is what like one of the default names of the boards is.
Ah.
If you create a new top level, plan, if you create a plan, just a new plan.
Oh, a new plan. Let's create a new plan. I like website
See,
redesigns. That's
this
fun.
answers the question for some people that they had about who can get to it. See, make this plan public.
Mm-hmm. And you can give your plan the email address. Yep, and there's the public. Create a plan.
Then if you switched it to not be public, that's when it would ask you to invite people to it.
Mm-hmm. Takes a little while to create a plan. I guess because it has to run through and create an email address. That takes a
Okay, so to do, the thing that was to do that I saw was the name of a bucket.
Here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So see how you can add a new bucket. So he
Mhm.
just created a plan which has buckets in it.
Right, and you can rename this to-do bucket if you want to.
Okay, so but when you open up one of the cards inside of the buckets,
Right.
it actually, not only can you drag them around like you showed, but it also has a drop-down box in there that lets you move it to a different
Correct.
bucket also. Okay, all right.
Correct.
You already knew that, but I kept seeing the word to do everywhere, and it was just because that was the name of my, okay.
Yeah. So, all right, so just for funsies. Oh, and here's a grouping, so that's cool. Go away, messages. So obnoxious. So right now it's grouped by buckets. You can group it by assigned to. So there you go. That's kind of cool. And you can group it by progress. So not started, in progress, completed.
When you switch it over to charts, does it have grouping as well?
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to charts in a
sorry.
second.
Okay, sorry. I keep throwing you off. I know you had a completely reasonable way that you were methodology for going through here, and I'm just, yeah.
So one thing I wanted to try was I wanted to see if I could change this to, oh, there it is, edit plan. So let's unmake this plan public, because that's good English. Now it's locked. A little icon changed there. Okay, so you can change it afterwards. That plan that I just created, this website redesign. So right now there are no people in it. It's just me, which is the MOD administrator. So if we go to members, which will be that Office 365 group, and as you can see, it opens Outlook technically. So it has nobody here, which makes sense. Okay, so let's add a card here. I want to test something. Actually, let's add a member first. Let's add, is there a person named Julie? No. Come on, why can't I find people?
Dan
Dan?
Jump's always in there. Oh, what? Oh, it's looking for existing members, right?
Well, I'm saying add
No,
members.
you're trying to add a member? Okay,
Yeah.
that's weird. Yeah, there are a bajillion people in there. I'm not sure why it's not fine.
That's odd. What I really wanted to try.
I call it a bug.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What I was going to try was adding comments in here and seeing if they show up in the conversation section of the planner.
Okay. That would make sense. Since attachments end up showing up somewhere else, it would make sense that comments would go somewhere else.
Exactly.
I wonder if links didn't get added to the library, did they? I wonder where they go.
Probably nowhere.
Probably nowhere.
All right, so let's go to conversations. See. Be interesting if this thing was like dying on me. Since right
So
now
it takes you over to like your email, like people area.
right, it's taking me over to the.
It's like if you went in Office 365 Waffle and you clicked people, it looks kind of like that. Like this is the same similar area.
Yeah, it's part of Outlook. This is interesting. No, I don't want to see my. How is there even a Corey Emmons in here? How does that even make sense?
I think it opened up your actual. I think it authenticated as you as your other. Some other account, Office 360. See, there's the business solutions group that I just saw in there, and I think I created that in my other tenant. So it's actually authenticated you to a different tenant.
Oh yeah,
See,
IW Mentor.
Yeah,
That's
my
so not
Waterlara
helpful.
tenant. I know the authentication part in Office 365 drives me nuts sometimes.
Sign out.
There we go. That's weird that you're in the same browser it decided to do that, because usually with me, if I'm in the same browser, in the same just tabs in the same browser, it doesn't get confused. It just works.
Didn't even work anyway.
It didn't work. That's awesome.
Yeah, sign out.
You just tried that though.
I know. Man, apparently I'm going insane. All right, I signed out of that. I'm still theoretically signed into this. Let's try conversations again. See, this is the
There you go. Use another account.
Yeah, because I don't even remember what it's called.
Yes, M Dayton 7 says he usually has to go in private. Yeah, you wouldn't think that you'd have to go in private when he just wants to use the same login for everything he's doing. But yeah, I have to do the in private thing like pretty much all day long. Do any of you other people in here have multiple tenants that you log into and your browsers get all confused like constantly and like Corey's going through? I think it's admin at Corey. Did we lose Corey? Spats says he has a dev tenant. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I have several test tenants, and they're if you're a Microsoft partner, then you can go to demos.microsoft.com and you can get just get a whole tenant given to you that's a 90-day, and that's what Corey's showing right here. Corey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are you? It's admin at. All I can see right now is you trying to log in.
Yeah, that's where I was.
I lost you. I think Corey's computer is spazzing out on him. No, Ann, you don't want to have multiple tenants. Oh, we lost Corey. Oh, I blame the Google Hangouts. Maybe oh, there he is. He's back. He's muted though. Corey, you're muted.
Yep.
There you go. Did your computer freak out on you?
No, it was just the internet.
Oh.
Stupid internet. I'm too lazy to put my lower third back. I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay.
Okay. So, and it looks like we're finally in the right place.
Thank you, Office 365.
Woo! Alrighty, so what's interesting is that those comments that I just put in are here. That's good. So we have a new conversation that is new comment test, another comment, and those are the ones that I just put into this card. So cool. So yeah, every time you put in comments here, it adds them as conversations in the Office 365 group, as you can see, which is awesome. So it's a good way to keep track of that stuff. What's good with that is if you go through and end up deleting these tasks, then you'll still have record of those conversations. So that's good from an accountability perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. So let's look at charts. Charts are fun.
I cannot wait to look at charts, Corey. I'm so glad you're getting to charts. I was on the seat, edge of my seat.
Welcome to charts. Dun dun dun. So, charts are pretty cool. They're not as cool as they could be, but that's just my cynicism talking. When you open up charts, it gives you that same pie that you had in the Planner Hub. And then it gives you this, by default, it gives you this members thing, which shows you all of the tasks by members. And they're color coded. So blue is in progress, yellow is not started, orange if, well, almost
That
like
reminds me of something,
bus
Corey,
yellow.
that we created in SSRS one time.
Yeah, exactly.
Where that one user had like the chart was thrown way off because the one user had like 200
Oh,
uncompleted
man.
tasks.
Just a little background for that. So we had a customer onboarding system, and we wanted to make an SSRS report of all of the overdue tasks in there. And there were like 30 or 40 people that had tasks. So it was a big chart. But everybody had 1 or 2 overdue tasks. And then all of a sudden, there was a guy that had like 176 overdue tasks. And so everybody looked like they had nothing. And it was just this one guy with this huge red bar.
What a slacker he was. Hopefully he got fired. No, I'm kidding.
I actually think that was our fault that he had that many, because they weren't assigned to him, and then we had to go through and change some assigned twos, and all of a sudden he got stuck with them all. Whoopsie. Anyway, so it shows this overview. It's clickable, and I don't know if you noticed, but when I clicked on it, it actually filtered this tasks.
Ooh,
list
that
on
is
the right.
cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, to his tasks, which was awesome. This unassigned. Let's look at Belinda and Garth. And then if you can get rid of the filter by using this little X here. So then it'll show all of them. You can actually add tasks from here, which I think is kind of odd. Doesn't seem like the right screen to be adding. See, and they're screwing this. They're going to confuse people because they're calling it tasks here, even though they're cards in other places. Anyway, so you can add new ones here if you want to. And then it has this grouping capability, so you can group them by assigned to, and then due date, progress. And I like the one that's buckets, so it kind of groups them by the different projects that you're doing, which is cool. And then here, members, you can actually, when you click on these people and hit the X, what it was doing yesterday and isn't doing now is, oh, that's where it is. So when you click on people here, interestingly enough, it actually highlights the tasks on the right-hand column.
Oh, yeah.
So I clicked on Alex, and now it shows all of the tasks that are assigned to Alex highlighted in blue, which is an interesting way to do that. So that was kind of cool. You can actually refine things here. If on the left here, you can click on like the not started or late, and it'll filter the tasks on the right-hand side. Actually, it doesn't filter. It shows them to you. So it like scrolls through. Late, not started.
Oh, because they're grouped by...
No, but see,
Do
that's interesting because it
because you group by
changes
due
the
date?
grouping.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
if you click on not started, it groups by
Uh-huh.
progress. If you click on late,
Oh,
it changes them to by
that
due
is
date.
really neat. Y'all like that? What do y'all think?
If you change it to in progress, it changes to group by progress, which I think is kind of fascinating.
Yeah. Somebody had their thinking cap on creating that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's, for the most part, that's charts. You can still open cards in here to get more details and, you know, do the same things that you would normally do on them. You can still mark them complete in here if you want to. Let's hit that checkbox. Woo! The notebook opens in a new tab and just brings you to that basically OneDrive, that OneDrive notebook, which is nice. Let's see here. Yeah, so this calendar thing, again, it's an Outlook thing, and it brings you to the online marketing calendar. But it doesn't show tasks.
What is it showing exactly? What? Click on something.
Meetings.
Yeah, but I wonder if somebody just manually did somebody just manually created those, and those aren't anything from those boards or anything that we were looking at?
Not from what I can tell. No.
Hmm.
Yeah, cloud and
Okay.
mobile. So like this one, cloud and mobile professionals. I'll let Garth know if I want to attend.
So some final thoughts. So what happens, I wonder, if you go to Delve? Is Delve going to show you, because if you have a certain level of tenant, which I know this demo one has, if you go to the waffle menu and go to Delve, it's going to have like Delve Analytics. So I wonder if Delve Analytics incorporates things that you're doing. So click on Analytics on the left. And then, so Delve Analytics is really cool. Speaking of, you know, charts and things, this is fairly new. It doesn't exist in my E3 tenant. I think it's, so this demo tenant that you're in is like E5.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is awesome. Like, it tells you how many, you know, hours you're spending on your email, who you're emailing, how many hours you're, you know, just all like about you doing work and yourself. But I wonder if the Delve stuff, like, I mean, if the planner stuff, you would think it would roll up into here. Like,
You
it
would
even
think
has
so.
multitasking in meetings. That's interesting. Gee, I never do that.
Yeah, no. Huh. I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Nothing obvious that looks like it's a task or a board or something.
right. Even just in the regular Delve.
Well, it's a demo tenant, so you're not really doing anything in there, right?
I mean, I'm in those groups, I think. But, that's interesting.
So something that's frustrating to me about Planner is that, no, Christian, you can't @mention somebody in the comments. I tried that. Frustrating to me about Planner is that it's not integrated with SharePoint at all. It's sort of like an Office 365 group where you've got documents and stuff in a notebook, and it sort of got some same settings, some stuff as like a team site with a document library, but it's a completely separate thing. It's not like a site where you can go create workflows or anything on it.
Right.
And it's not integrated with, like, you can't integrate it with a SharePoint site at all. It just shows like down, like listed along with all your groups. So technically it's a group, but it can't do team site type of stuff. And I'm pretty sure that if I created like some sort of roll up web part in SharePoint or did a search in SharePoint, I don't think Planner stuff would show in there. That would, anyway. So that's pretty frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's.
What do you guys think? Or do you think that this is a separate enough type of deal where, you know, managing projects and having tasks and things, that you don't really need to integrate it with SharePoint, so it's not that big of a deal? Apparently someone thought that because they went forward with building this as it's completely its own thing.
Yeah, I'm looking around now to see if there's a way to like add or like go to the almost like the quote unquote home page of the group.
No,
I
a
don't think
group
there's a way
just
to do
has,
that.
so in the future, in like probably a couple of weeks, team site, when you create a group or a team site, it's like going to be the same thing. Like they mentioned in the future of SharePoint, and it will have a home page. So technically it'll be a group and it'll be a team site, and you'll be able to do all the stuff in groups and team sites in there. And it's not going to be, you know, two completely separate things, but this is a completely separate thing. This is just like a group with, it doesn't have a home page. It has like, the home page would be that big pretty thing where it shows like your boards and the graphs and stuff on the front.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Stuart, that it's just another place that you would have to go to look for tasks.
I know, and nobody, oh.
Like they don't roll up anywhere.
No, they don't.
I
It's
don't
very,
think.
very pretty, and I love how modern it is. I love how easy and intuitive it is to get around in here. It makes me happy because, you know, we don't want to have to spend a bunch of time training people.
Right.
We want it to just hand them the technology and for it to just make sense. So I like that about it. It's very colorful. It kind of draws you in because it makes you want to like click on things, and it's very easy to click on things and do, you know, complete tasks, and you don't have to have a PhD in SharePoint to be able to work in there. So those are the things I like about it. I just don't like that it's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corey. That was a great demo. What do you guys think?
No
Any
problem.
last question?
Does anyone use both? Yeah. I mean, it's just like one more tab to keep open almost. Especially, I don't know, because I saw when you add a new task, it adds it to like a conversation in the group email, but I don't know if the person actually gets notified that they have a new task. So it's definitely something new and cool. I don't know that it's completely ready for prime time yet, though.
Yeah, and see, in Office 365, when you go to your inbox, that's just email. So when you click on tasks in Office 365, it doesn't have, like, that's just a task list. So tasks and planner are two different things.
Right.
But it'd be nice so planner is what, tasks.office.com. So maybe there's a plan to merge those together. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Anybody going to Ignite? Shout it out in the chat window. I will be there. I'll be next week. We will be teaching our power user class all week. So you guys, please spread the word. It's SharePoint Power User. It's you know, all list and library settings and managing sites and site settings and web parts and all that fun stuff. And let me put it back on my face. There we go. And then the week after that is Ignite, and I'll be speaking there. I'm doing 3 sessions. 2 of them are little 20-minute sessions, but one of them, it's apparently so many people signed up for it, they're creating a second copy of it. Anyway, so I'll be doing that one twice. And I think
just so popular.
Yeah. I haven't created any of that content yet. So, all right. So we'll see you guys in October, I guess.
Yeah, to answer your question, KBA, I believe you cannot do permissions on, you might be able to do permissions on the files that are in the document library for Planner, but you can't do permissions on individual cards or tasks. So anything that's in a card is going to be viewable to anyone in the group.
Yeah, it's not like item level permissions like in SharePoint.
Right. But realistically, I mean, everyone in the group is going to be privy to the project. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like you could probably, since it is a library KBA, you could probably go to individual, like manually go to individual permissions on it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend that. And This is the existing power user. So this is not like This would be like the power user level 2, because last week I was talking about like renaming the power user class. I haven't technically renamed it yet, but I need to do that before Ignite. So, all right. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.